I want to talk about here? Okay. Shh. If I say the word rotation angle, I'm talking about rotating from 0. Now, let's start with 505. Do we remember the what do you call this thing? XY plane. We'll just go with that. Yes, XY plane. The quadrant system. This is your X values. This is your Y values. Correct? Okay. In trig, all right, this is always 0. It's wrong? Okay. 0 degrees is on the x-axis. And when you rotate counterclockwise. So if I say, actually, you know what? Let's just go to here. Here it's all written out, so I don't have to draw anything. You start at 0. If I say an angle of 235 degrees, you rotate counterclockwise. Now, you have to know your quadrants. So, what's the very first quadrant? Top right, and we call that quadrant 1. Where's quadrant 2? Where's quadrant 3? And then quadrant 4. Okay, every quadrant is 90 degrees. Yes? You can see it's like 2 lines meeting at a 90-degree angle. All right, so every quadrant is 90 degrees. So this is 0, this is 90, 180, 270, and then come all the way back around, you get the 360 again. We good? Yeah. Seems legit. Are those lies, Thomas? No. Those are real? Okay. So if I say you rotate 235 degrees, I've rotated past the 180 into quadrant 3. Can anybody tell me what this angle is right here? 235. No, just this one from this line to this line. Oh, is that something like 35 or 45? It's 235 minus 180, right? 235 minus 180, so 55 degrees. Does everybody agree with that? Does that make sense? Perfect. We do a lot of this kind of stuff in this. All right. Is this on the test? This is the whole test. Just adding and subtracting angles. If I say a negative angle, so negative 247, you have rotated clockwise. All right. So you start here and you go the other way. It's 180 to there. So all the way to there is negative 247. What is that angle? $67 degrees. If it's 180 to there, and you go, you got to get to 247, how much more do you have to add? 67 degrees. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, we're going to practice these because this is the basis of almost every question we do here. Sketch the rotation angle. So these are called rotation angles because you're rotating from 0. Okay, you always start at 0. We rotate 290 degrees. What quadrant do I end up in? 4. So it's 270 to there. I end up in there. I don't care where you draw the angle. I just draw a line in the quadrant. We've rotated like that. What is this angle? 20 degrees, right? Looks like it does. Don't go by what it looks like because I'm just drawing the line. It's what you label it, okay? And don't pull out a protractor and try to measure them, okay? We don't use protractors in this class, all right? This is all deductive reasoning. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, next one, negative 135. What quadrant am I in? You said 3. 3, you're in quadrant 3. It's negative, so I've rotated that way. What is this angle right there? How'd you get that? You just did some numbers. You know it's 90 to there, right? So how much past 90? So it's 135 minus 90 is 45 degrees. 45. The negative just tells you which way you rotate. That's it. Okay? And then this angle, as you'll see, will always be positive. Can anybody tell me what this angle is? Yeah, you smarty pants. That's 45 as well. Why is that 45? Because the whole thing, every quadrant is 90 degrees. So if this is 45, that has to be 45. All right, 750 degrees. What quadrant do I finish in? If you go all the way around once, that's 360. If you go all the way around twice, it's 720. How much past 720 do you have to go to get to 750? So this is 30 degrees. You'll find we don't just stay within 360. We can just keep going and going and going. Because what we're going to do later on is we're going to do the graphs of the trig functions and transform those graphs. Transformations come roaring back. And the graphs go on forever in either direction. Unless you list a domain restriction, which we'll get into that too. All right. Is that okay? So my rotation, this is called a rotation angle, is 750. This little 30-degree thing you'll see later on is called a reference angle. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's just keep going. All right. Because we're on a quadrant system, an xy plane, we can list them with xy values. So the point A lies on the terminal arm of rotation angle theta. In each case, draw the angle theta in standard position. All right, basically they're saying, where do you end up? What quadrant? So if my xy values are -3 and 4, what quadrant am I in? 2, right? Because it's -3, 4. There's your terminal arm, is what they call it. The rotation angle is from 0. That's theta. Is everybody familiar with theta? It's just usually instead of writing x, they write theta for angles in trig. You're going to see theta a lot. Sometimes they write x though too. Or, sorry? It's not 0. Think of it as a 0 with a line through it. Theta. It's theta. Or it's an 8 with a line through it, or it's 0, sort of. All right. What quadrant am I in if both x and y are negative? Boom. You're in quadrant 3 because it's -7, -2. My rotation angle is from 0, so that is theta. Sorry? No, these are the coordinates, the xy coordinates. But you could say a negative. That would be a negative. I'll just say that'll be a negative angle. What? If I rotate that way, where the blue, I'm rotating the other way. I'm pretty sure. But that leads into this one, because those two angles in B would be called coterminal, because you end up in the same spot, which is the second part here. Coterminal angles, it's just a fancy way of saying you end up in the same spot, okay? End up in the same, I'll say place. End up in the same place. So if I have a rotation angle of 150 degrees, what quadrant am I in? 2, right? That's 150. What is this angle that would get me to the same spot? 210? Whoever said it. -210, right? You have to say the negative, okay? Because that means you've rotated the other direction. You also could have done this. What color? This color. I could have gone all the way around and then kept going to get there, which would be 360 plus 150, which is that? 410? Is that 410? 510. I'm good at adding. 510 degrees. And then you can keep going around. These 510, negative 210, and 150 are called coterminal angles because you end up in the same spot. Okay? You all end up on that little blue line. So these are all coterminal. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Is that okay? It's not great. It's beautiful. All right. Going once, going twice. This. All right. We are going to use reference angles in all of trig. Okay, starting from now on. A reference angle, and it's important that you understand the definition of a reference angle. Okay? I'll read it out and then I'll just show you on the picture. It's easier when you see it visually. A reference angle is the acute angle. What does acute mean?
Less than 90.
Yes, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay. Is an acute angle formed between the terminal arm of the rotation angle and the x-axis. All that means is if I rotate 120 degrees to here, this is my reference angle. And I will abbreviate it REF angle sign. Okay? That is my reference angle because it's from the terminal arm to the x-axis. Okay? They are always positive. Okay? Reference angles are always positive, and they are from the terminal arm to the x-axis. So what's the reference angle in this diagram here? 60 degrees. Right? Because if it's 120 to get there, it's 60 more degrees to get to 180. All right, you're going to tell me, or we're going to do the reference angles for these ones. 243 degrees. Where am I located? What quadrant? Quadrant 3. Boom. It's 243. My reference angle is to the x-axis, to the closest x-axis. So the reference angle is this bit. What is the reference angle there? Sorry? 63. Dante, disappointed. 63 degrees. Does that make sense? It's 180 to here, and you got to get to 243, so you go 63 more degrees.
Why do we pick that side?
It's always to the x-axis. That's the definition.
So, like,
Minus 180, yeah. All right. 337. What quadrant am I in? 4. So I've rotated. Whoa. I've rotated all the way to there. Where is my reference angle? Let's start with that. It's right there. How much further to get to 360? So your reference angle equals 23 degrees. We okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. 70 degrees. Where am I?
1.
What's my reference angle? 70. If you're in the first quadrant, the reference angle is the rotation angle. They're the same thing. Dante? All right. You ready for the next page? This, I don't like this. This is them showing how to get it. Rotation angle is 180 minus the reference. I just use your head. I don't know what else to say about that. You do this enough times, you'll just know how to do it. All right. State the reference angle for each of the following rotation angles in standard position. All right. 195 degrees. Where am I located? What quadrant? I'm in quadrant 3. What's my reference angle? Nope. 15 degrees. When you rotate, like, yeah. Reference angle is 15. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Negative 258. What quadrant am I in? Quadrant 2, right? Because you're going in the negative direction. Reference angle is always positive and to the closest x-axis. So it's this bit right here. What's my reference angle? Does everybody agree with Dante?
Yeah. Okay,
Does that make sense to everybody? That it's 78 degrees? Because this is 180, right? So I went to there, and I got to go 78 more degrees to get to 258. This is important. I know it seems whatever, but this is important. Does everybody understand that? Yeah. All right. Okay. It's not 90. Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry.
Wow.
Negative 810. Where am I? So if I go this way, there's negative 360. Negative 720. To get to 810, I go, boom, to there. So this is my reference angle, which is 90 degrees. Reference angles are always positive. Yes?
You say the right one or the left one? The right or either one way or right?
It doesn't matter either one. Like, do you mean like I could go there or I could go there?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for these questions. And you'll see when we get into the graphing why it doesn't matter. But for right now, it doesn't matter. Because it's equal on either side, right? Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
So you can choose?
Sorry?
You can choose?
Yeah. You just say the reference angle is 90. Your choice, Dante. Do you go right or do you go left?
I say right.
Okay, that'd be wrong, but that's okay. Is everybody okay with that? All right. Here's what I would like you to do. Questions. Really, all I care about is the reference. So, number 4, number 5, 4 and 5. Lesson 1 over.
Really?
4 and 5. Know how to do reference angles.